Good morning, rock and metal fans. Welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Review. So, we're going to do 2006, the best songs. And it was sort of all right. It wasn't the best, but as usual, there's some, top releases. There's a couple of albums there where I could have just chose the whole album, but that'd be a bit boring, so we're going to do one song from each as usual. And I've actually got seven of choices, so not bad. And some of them are obviously great. We're going to go from 7 to 1, 7 being my least favourite of my best songs. So number 7, and we're going to go with one of them recommendations that I got. So on this year we had the, let me pronounce this right, Giantini Project. This is Tony Martin teaming up with this great guitarist, and this was the Project 3 album. And it's a song, here we go with pronunciation. I should have chosen another song, but that'd be cheating. But Kies La Vida. You can correct me if I'm wrong. That's the name of the song. It's a brilliant song, and yet again, it's one of them. There's a lot of it's like mainly this album is like a classic rock album, but there's a lot of mixture of real. They really mix it up. It's sort of like there's some real good fast stuff. It's all heavy. It's pretty heavy, and like I said before, the production on these albums, on these project albums, is some of the best production I've ever heard. And like I said, I just really wish some bands now would go back to that production. The guitar is so much up in the mix, but it's obviously everything is clear. It's not drowning everything out. It's absolutely brilliant. And Tony Martin, what a singer! What a singer! Very Sabbathy, this one. And that's why I've chosen it. It sounds very, very Sabbathy. Absolutely love it. That's my number 7. My number 6. This band don't appear on my list too much, but it's because I like them, but they're not, one of my go-to bands, and that's Toto. And I've chosen Falling in Between off of the album Falling in Between. So Toto are like, for me, I find them really interesting to listen to. Like I said, they're not one of my top bands, but they are really good. I really enjoy listening to them. This song in particular, and look, if you think Toto is all about Africa and Rosanna, it definitely ain't. So clever musicians, these guys. And you can hear that in this song. It's even a little bit progressive, odd time signatures in this one, but a brilliant song. It's like catchy but progressive at the same time. Catch that one. Last couple of Toto albums have been really good. So Falling in Between is my number 6. My number 5, another band that don't appear that much, but Wigwam. So their song Daredevil Heat from Wigwam Mania. Wigwam Mania is, for me, their best album. It's so catchy. It's very 80s sounding, excellent vocals, brilliant, what you expect from an 80s band. Expect brilliant vocals and brilliant guitar work, don't you? That's what you get. This one is it makes me smile, this song. Excellent. Listen, just put it on. Listen to the build up at the beginning of the song before it fires into it. When it gets going, listen to that scream from the singer. Oh, fucking hell, it's brilliant. It's a really fun song. Daredevil Heat. That's my number 5. My number 4, one of the singers I always go back to, and that is Jorn. And he brought out the Duke album, and I've chose We Brought the Angels Down. This is where I do love Jorn's career. I think it's great throughout his career, but it's weird, isn't it? I actually prefer it when he does this earlier on in his career, and he even sort of went back to it in the last album actually that he done, last solo album he done, not the covers album. He did an album before that. He's gone back sort of that sort of little bit progressive sound, and I think that's where John really like succeeds. I like the Master Plan albums are superb, especially the first one and the third one. And when he started out, John, he had this sort of progressive elements, and then later on in his career, he sort of went more straightforward rock or straightforward metal, more Dio-ish, I suppose, more Dio and Coverdale. But before that, he had these little progressive moments in his songs. And even though, like I said, I'm not a massive progressive metal or progressive rock fan, I think this is where he exceeded in his career with this type of music. And We Brought the Angels Down, he's slightly progressive. I love it. Absolutely love that song. That's my number 4. And my number 3, Southern rock band Black Stone Cherry and Rain Wizard off their debut album entitled Black Stone Cherry. You know what, Black Stone Cherry, their first 3 albums were top notch, you know, and they're still good now. And their new album, by the way, is, you know, what I've heard off of it, that their first single was really good. But, you know, they really infused more of their southern side with their first few albums, you know. And I love Rain Wizard. It's the opening track. It really soars in the chorus. Guy's got a brilliant voice, or as my future wife would say, sexy. I don't know about that, but his voice has not like let up. And if you think about this, 2006 we're doing that, so they've been going 14 years. And, you know, to sing at that, and I've caught them live a couple of times, and to sing at that, you know, that range and power for 14 years, it's not the easiest thing to do. And they're a real touring band as well. So, great Rain Wizard. Absolutely love it. What an introduction to a great band. That's my number 3. Number 2, everyone's probably thinking this one would have probably made my top number 1, but it's not. But it's Iron Maiden, and I chose For the Greater Good of God off Matter of Life and Death. So for me, Matter of Life and Death is the best album. Oh, I don't know. Fuck. See, this is where I get really fucking like, this is where the albums switch around for me all the time. But I don't know if Brave New World, well, Matter of Life and Death and Brave New World are so close together for me. But Matter of Life and Death is such a strong album. I can see why they went on tour, which I caught them on this tour and did the entire album from beginning to end with a couple of songs, like old songs on the end. I can see why. I know some Maiden fans were disappointed. When you want to go and see Maiden, you want to hear all the old shit, you know, Run to the Hills, Number of the Beast, and Hallowed Be Thy Name. You know, I get that. You know, when you pay money to go and see a band that are huge and all that history, you want to hear those songs. But I loved them playing this from front to back because at the time I could not stop playing this album. And yet again, they don't fuck around, do they, Maiden? This, as I was looking through this track list, they're all like 8-9 minutes long, these songs, and yet this For the Greater Good of God is 9 minutes. What a brilliant song. I could have chosen so many off this album. The only weak one song I'd say on this album might have been like the opening track. I think it was like it was a single. I think that like when they release singles sometimes and they open up, they're not the best. They're not the best Maiden tracks on an album. I do prefer the epic long shit that Maiden does. And For the Greater Good of God, so many twists and turns, so progressive. Fucking love it. One of my favourite. Is a brilliant song on one of my favourite Iron Maiden albums. Definitely right at the top of the Bruce second period albums. You know, obviously, Peace of Mind, Number of the Beast, and Power Slave. It's not that, but it's still fucking brilliant. And my number 1, I know what you're probably thinking, what the fuck's that going to be if Iron Maiden ain't number 1? I love this album, and it's Sunstorm. And their debut album, Sunstorm. So what this is Joe Lynn Turner. Apparently a lot of this was dug up from the 80s, written in the 80s, and they brought some of these ideas and these songs back with this band, Sunstorm. And the album is just pure 80s melodic heavy rock, just how you love it. Do you know what I mean? And Joe Turner in great form. The first, and I've chosen Keep Tonight, which is the opening track. God, it's a brilliant song. What a vocal from Joe Turner. How catchy is this song? And Keep Tonight, love it. Absolutely full of hooks, full of melodies, and it is all the way through this album. They did a few albums. They still produced one a couple of years ago. But this one was easily the strongest of the Sunstorm albums. Easy all the way through, from track 1 to whatever many tracks on it, from like 11 or 12. Absolutely love it. Brilliant performance by Joe Turner. Brilliant performance by the band. So that's it. That's my number 1 of 2006. Hope you enjoyed it. Is there anything I've missed? Let me know. Let me know. There was a couple of things I've listened to that people have mentioned that didn't quite make my list, so sorry about that. But thanks for trying. You just like what you like, don't you? And please subscribe. Bottom right hand corner red button. Thank you very much. See you next time.